How's it going, everybody? You can ask me anything about politics. That is what we are doing today. So if you got a question about politics, hit me up in the chat and we will get to it. That is what we are doing here today. So if you got questions about politics, you can ask away. I am available. There's no such thing as a dumb question. You can just ask me whatever you like, and I will do my best to give y'all a great answer. Welcome to the live stream, everybody. We're talking about politics today. So if you got a question about politics, hit me up in the chat, and I will do my best to give you a great answer. I know that learning about politics can be a little intimidating sometimes, so I like to make myself available, and there's no judgments here. There's no debating. There's no roasting. You don't got to worry about if I'm going to think you're a squishy lib or a MAGA fanatic or anything. It doesn't matter what question you have. I will answer it. User whole bunch of numbers says, can we see inside your nightstand? The answer is no. I don't have a nightstand, and also that's not about politics. New Boot Goofin says, do you think he'll invoke the Waluigi defense? That's a pretty good bit, New Boot Goofin. That is a pretty good bit. I haven't talked to my mom in a hot minute, but she's Italian and she lives in Pennsylvania, and I cannot wait to ask her what she thinks of the whole Luigi business. But yeah, I'm available to answer your questions about politics. I do not believe in making people feel dumb or silly for not knowing things about politics, and so you don't got to worry. If there's no such thing as a dumb question, I am available to answer all of your cues. They can be extremely simple. What are the three branches of government? They can be more complicated, like what's up with reconciliation, what's up with the filibuster, or it can be more specific about our current political moment. There's no such thing as a dumb question. I'm not going to debate you. If you ask a question in good faith, I will just try to give you my best answer. Now, if you're here to troll, if you're here to start a fight, maybe I might get a little spicy, but if you are here in good faith, then I will just answer your questions as best I can. Omar says, thoughts on eggs on burgers? That's not about politics. Mike Tucholsky says, do you think it's better to not vote at all or vote as an uninformed person? I think it's better to vote as an uninformed person. There's no political value to not voting. Not voting is essentially a vote for the person that you like the least, because that means that person has an extra vote. If a person is uninformed and they vote, and then the person that they voted for does something that they don't like, then they are incentivized to figure out what the deal is and potentially vote for someone else in the future. I think that participation in our government has, exponential returns, and the more that people are engaged, the better our government is. And my evidence of that is look around. Our voter participation numbers are pathetic and things are not great. So there's my evidence. Enjoy. All right, let's see here. That's not a question about politics. Oliver Heinzelman says, are you a Republican or a Democrat? Oh, looks like I got some connection issues happening over on TikTok. Let's see here. Okay. Let's see here. Persona uninformed are way worse. They elect criminal traitors like Trump. Well, there were a lot of people who did not vote, Tico7711. So potentially, if we increased our voter participation numbers, that would have outweighed the votes of the people who voted for Donald Trump, User a whole bunch of numbers says, what do you think about the situation in Palestine? I think that the governing bodies of both Palestine and Israel are acting criminally and are performing war crimes. I have the utmost sympathy and empathy for the people who are living in both Israel and Palestine, because the governing bodies that are taking care of them are not doing their job, and they are doing atrocities. And so I do not believe that America should be supplying money or weapons to Israel because they're doing war crimes. If we were also giving money and weapons to Hamas, I would say we should stop doing that, but we're already not doing that. Let's see here. Oliver Heinzelman says, "Are you a Republican or a Democrat?" I'm a Democrat. Let's see here. Silence Plasma Steak says, "What do you think about UBI?" I think UBI is great. Universal Basic Income. I think that we need to start moving towards an economy where people just get money for being citizens, because as we move into more automation and artificial intelligence, there will potentially be fewer jobs available to people. And I don't think that not being able to get a job when you want a job means that you should starve to death on the street. Visible Soul says, "Are we going to be okay?" That depends. It just depends. If you're a rich person, then you're probably going to be fine. If you are part of a marginalized group, if you're a poor person, if you're a working class person, I don't know. I am terrified of what a unified Trump government is going to accomplish. And just based on his behavior since he won the election, it appears as though he's not changing shit about his behavior. And, his priority is always just taking care of himself and his rich billionaire buddies. And the billionaires are, out there billionairing. The CEO of Whole Foods just said that, if you're not sick, you should donate your vacation days to employees who are sick. And it's like, fuck you, dude. Just give people vacation days, Elon Musk is out there on Twitter saying homelessness isn't real. It's all just drug addicts and schizophrenics. And it's like, fuck you, man. You've got $1 billion. Fucking solve some of these problems. Sensu says, "How protected is California from the Trump government?" That is a really good question. I think states can only do so much. We rely on the federal government for a lot of things. And I think that it is a noble cause to try to protect your citizens from the worst excesses of the Trump MAGA Republican Party. But, to me, it seems like delay, like we're going to be the ones affected least, but I do not believe, last is what I meant to say. But I do not believe that we will emerge unscathed or unaffected. Guest requests sent if you're accepting. I do not accept guest requests. All right. I don't care if you have different opinions than me, everybody, but if you just spam the comments with pro-Trump nonsense, then you're going to get blocked. Ask a question, be part of the conversation, and you will not get blocked. Let's see here. Justin Hartley 748 says, "California makes most of our money in this country." Yeah, maybe there's a way to, that California can be like, we're not going to give you guys money so that you can send it to red states that are, just going to be part of the Republican problem of the country. California is done giving charity to red states. And if you wish to have money for all of your programs, maybe pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I wouldn't be opposed to that sort of aggressive progressivism, because I'm fucking tired of all these red states taking our fucking money and then bitching and moaning about us as states. These blue red states are fucking garbage, but thanks for the money, Daddy. I really appreciate it. Oh, thank you so much. I wouldn't be able to feed my constituents if it wasn't for all your blue state money, Daddy. Thank you so much. And then they take the money and then they're like, fucking California and New York are fucking shit cesspools that are fucking full of criminals and idiots. But thank you for the money, Daddy. I appreciate it. All right, let's see here. Akshay, Tico, why is getting rid of government bloat bad? Are you talking to Tico in the comments? Let's see here. Pig Gene says, "How can we find a way to educate the uneducated people voting red when they are so brainwashed?" That's the question of the day, Pig Gene, because, one of my big hobby horses is calling attention to the fact that the information environment on all levels, from the mainstream media to social media, is against the Democratic Party and for the Republican Party. Like, all this information skews in a way that helps Republican politicians. And so what's the solution to that? Now that we don't have control of the government, so we can't, fund education programs and make sure that, calling out misinformation is part of our educational system. Like, what do we do about that? I'm not 100% sure. My knee-jerk response, my shooting from the hip guess is that the only way we can solve this is by talking to people in person. And so I think we need to encourage people to talk to the ones that they know and love, people in their family, people at their work, people at their social circle, and just make sure that they are not, drinking the Kool-Aid and, slurping down the misinformation as though it is accurate, Let's see here. Plex Games 1. How do you think the tariffs will affect us? Here's my 50-cent take on tariffs. You ready? I think that it is going to increase costs across the board. It is going to separate us from the rest of the globe. So the American economy is going to be left behind while other nations continue to trade with each other and their GDPs are going to continue to grow. But I also think that it's going to be a mechanism for unbelievable corruption where companies are going to be able to lobby the Trump administration to be exempt from tariffs. And depending on if they grease, Donald Trump's palm well enough, if they kiss his ass and, make sure that daddy gets a taste, then they're going to be exempt from those tariffs. And so those companies are potentially going to be able to offer cheaper prices than other companies, which is just going to increase the monopolization problem that we're currently living under. So, the Trump administration is going to be fully picking which companies get to be successful or not. And because everybody's struggling under a cost of living crisis, those companies are going to become massively profitable because they're going to be the only ones that we're going to be able to afford to shop at and be able to get our food at and shit like that. Let's see here. Akshay, I respect your videos, but both parties are controlled by the same people to create political divide. Akshay, I've told you this before. That is a Republican propaganda point. When you say that both parties are the same, you are forgiving the Republican Party for being worse. When you say all politicians are corrupt and get their money from the same corporate interests, you are forgiving the Republican Party who gets way more corporate money than the Democratic Party does. There are more corrupt politicians on the Republican side than the Democratic side, and the corruption on the Republican side is worse than the corruption on the Democratic side. And I believe that our government is better when we vote for better as opposed to worse. So it does you no favors. And when I say you, I mean like all of us. It does all of us no favors to forgive the sins of the Republican Party by making it seem that both of them are the exact same, and they're not. One is vastly better than the other. The Democratic Party is vastly better than the Republican Party on that issue and others. And I would argue all issues, Let's see here. Charlie, thoughts on what's going on in North Carolina? Yeah, the Republican Party is cheating. That is what they always do. The Democrats lost the presidential election there, but we fucking swept a bunch of the other, elections. We won a Supreme Court seat and the governor's seat and everything like that. So now the Republicans that are currently in power are trying to change the laws in order to make it to try to remove power from the governor because now it's going to be a Democrat governor. And they're trying to remove 60,000 votes because the Supreme Court seat that the Democrats won was only decided by like 500 votes, It's just Republican cheating again and again. Let's see here. Mrs. Smith, 3717. So what do you recommend for health care to fix the issues? I mean, that's two different questions. It's like, what can we do now that we're in Republican control? Or what do I think like the solution is in general? The solution in general is universal health care. Like there's absolutely no reason why we should be wasting money creating these $1 million, healthcare CEOs, and getting worse healthcare outcomes because of it. It's fucking unconscionable. Under Republican control, I think we're just gonna have to try to stop the bleeding as much as possible. And if you live in a red state, or if you are living under the yoke of a Republican governor or a Republican senator or a Republican House member, like you should flood their phone lines and you should live outside their office and pester them and remind them that they work for us, and let them know that there will be political consequences if they do anything to make healthcare less affordable, less accessible to their constituents. Generic username, would you consider yourself radical left? I don't know if I would consider myself radical left. I'm a pretty reasonable human being, I think the radical left are the people who are like, who were encouraging people to vote for Trump so that the entire country would fail and then we could build a socialist utopia out of the ashes. That's not where I am at, because I recognize that when countries fail, marginalized people suffer. Working class people suffer, poor people suffer, LGBTQ people suffer when that shit happens. And, could it be a socialist utopia that emerges from the ashes, or will it be a fucking Handmaid's Tale, right-wing fucking fascist government that emerges from the ashes. You know, it's a fucking coin toss. Chase Wisely, Obamacare made healthcare way less affordable more than anything ever in U.S. history. That is a lie, Chase Wisely. You are not wise, Chase Wisely. That is a fucking lie. The Affordable Care Act not only made healthcare more affordable and increased coverage for millions of Americans, but it also made it so that health insurance companies can't discriminate against people for having quote-unquote pre-existing conditions. Y'all are showing your age on here, not remembering what it was like for somebody who had cancer not being able to get insurance coverage because the insurance company didn't want to lose money covering them, and saying, well, you have a pre-existing condition in cancer, so we're not going to cover you. People died because of that. People went bankrupt because of that. And while the Affordable Care Act is not universal health care, it is definitely a step in the right direction. And the fact that Democrats lost House seats and because of the Affordable Care Act is fucking bullshit and proof that the information environment is firmly anti-Democratic Party. Because if people were aware of the benefits of the Affordable Care Act, Democrats would have only increased their voter share. But instead, everybody was bitching and moaning about the things that they hated about it and also making shit up about it. Like, y'all remember how Republicans were lying about the death panels? Y'all remember about that? Remember all those fucking lies that Republicans were saying about the Affordable Care Act, all that bullshit, you know? Let's see here. RN Diva, exactly. My son's chronic condition was never covered, and we spent thousands until Obamacare. That is, thank you for confirmation, RN Diva. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Chase Wisely, it used to be $20 copay for anything. Then ACA ruined it. Now it's super expensive coverage. That's bullshit, Chase Wisely. You are looking at inflation and you are looking at price increases caused by insurance companies and health insurance providers and blaming it on the Affordable Care Act for no fucking reason. It is not causality, it is correlation. And so I gotta ask, are you here in good faith or are you just being a troll who is spreading lies on purpose? Have you been lied to? Are you intentionally lying? Are you being paid to lie? Like, what is your fucking deal, man? What are you here for? Let's see here. Okay, this guy just says Trump won. And again, I don't care if you have different opinions than me, but if you just spam the comments with pro-Trump bullshit, then you will get blocked. Eric Flowers, can I join the live? The answer is no. I don't do debates. I don't do interviews. Mark LG Painting LLC says full conscription is healthcare for all. 1916. I don't know what you're talking about, Mark. That sentence doesn't make any sense to me. Generic username. Do you want America to be socialist? So the idea of a fully socialist or communist government does not exist in the world. Countries that call themselves socialist or communist are actually authoritarian governments or oligarchies. And also, socialism and communism isn't it's not a binary with capitalism. Countries can be more or less socialist or capitalist or communist. For example, any country that has universal health care is more socialist than America is, but not fully socialist. Now, I personally believe that America could be more socialist, with things like universal health care, with things like universal basic income. But the point is, like, we're getting fucked by rich people right now, and Republicans, they've rigged the game against us. They're fucking people over, making everybody's lives harder. And the mechanism by which we can, make some change around that, i.e. the government, has now been taken over by the pro-billionaire, pro-shitty CEO party. Where we come down at the end of these 4 years or 2 years, I've got no fucking idea. But if working class people and middle class people and poor people want to get a better shake, then you gotta keep the Republicans out of office because they do not give a shit about you. They only give a shit about making more money for their corporate daddies. Jams Ride, the positive vibe. Do you think the economy would do better if the 99% had more money to spend? Absolutely 100%. There's no question. That is how the economy works. You got to think about the economy like an ecosystem, like a closed loop ecosystem, all right? Water rains down from the skies, and feeds the lakes. The lakes then, feed down to the rivers. That all goes out into the ocean, where the water is then evaporated and goes back into the clouds and then rains back down on the original lake, and it just goes around in a circle like that. What rich people are doing is siphoning off water from this system so that we are getting less and less rain every day. And that's like figurative, that's like an analogy, but also literally because of, climate change, there is less water available for people, and, companies like Nestle stealing our water and selling it back to us, yeah, it is both literal and figurative, my analogy there. James the Ride, the positive vibe. So why do Republicans block their constituents from getting more money every chance they get? Because they don't give a shit about their constituents. They want that money to go to private companies and to go to their campaign finance, their campaign finances. Grant King 71. I support Trump because he can answer tough questions. No, he can't. That is a fucking lie. When he gets asked tough questions, he bitches and moans about it. He's a big fucking whiny baby. Let's see here. Dunk 226. If Democrats cared about the people, regular people, Obama wouldn't have made over $200 million. That is a specious argument. What is it about Obama making money that equals him not caring about the working class people? Like, look at the policies that he did when he was in office. Like, that is a guy who cares about the working class. He was stymied by the fact that he was the first black president, and he, anything that he was going to do, everybody screamed and yelled about, oh my God, this is a socialist takeover in America, and racist whites everywhere were fucking, mobilized because they were like, fuck this, there's a black person who's president, and then the Tea Party started, it's a whole fucking thing, man. But he was a great president. I think almost everybody would agree with that. My big criticism of Obama is that he wasn't aggressive enough, but also I don't think he could have been, because again, he was the first black president. He had to, everything had to be 1,000 feet above board, because if it was only 999 feet above board, then everybody would have cried foul and lost their fucking minds. Edgewalker69 did a little wave emoji over on Twitch. What's up? How's it going? John Kellerman over on Facebook. Do you feel voting should be mandatory? I don't know. It's mandatory in Australia, and they've actually done studies that when people are forced to vote, they vote more right-wing than not, which I think is really interesting. But yeah, I don't know. It feels, I don't love it. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I do think that the country would be better if we had greater voter participation, but at the same time, I don't know. It doesn't feel right to mandate voting. Yeah, I don't know. I could be convinced otherwise. But I worry that we in this country already have such a strong anti-authoritarian bent that people will reject things, even the ones that help. Like the insurance mandate, where it was like, just get insurance or we're going to tax you. And just trust us, it's going to be better for everybody. And people were like, fuck you, don't force me to get insurance. Don't force me to be covered for healthcare emergencies, you fucking asshole, Let's see here. Edgewalker, what do you think the Democratic Party will do following the total political defeat to Trump? Double down on the woke, or come towards the center, or perhaps something else? I do not believe that the Democratic Party is woke the way that people say that the Democratic Party is woke. When people complain about the Democratic Party being woke, what they're doing is they're complaining about liberals online, because there's no woke politician that is doing the woke things that everybody on the right is fucking complaining about. It's just random internet user 657 who is saying the things that everybody thinks is like annoying leftist bullshit, whereas the extreme on the right wing, those are the elected officials, like you can find a right wing troll that is more extreme than Marjorie Taylor Greene, but there are not a lot of them, like maybe one or two, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Josh Hawley, Matt Gaetz, Donald Trump, Kash Patel, like those are the extreme ones, and they're the elected officials. Our most extreme politicians are people like AOC and Bernie Sanders, and they're very reasonable people, So yeah, come towards the center. There are people on the left who think that the Democratic Party is already too center, I don't think that it was the Democrats messaging or policy that is the reason why they lost this election. I think it's because of the information environment pushing people to either not vote or vote Republicans, or the incumbency bias that every political party felt around the globe, whether they were right wing or left wing or center. Everybody lost their election this year because everybody was mad at the incumbents. Let's see here. Edgewalker69. So what will they do you think? I have no fucking idea. You know, honestly, I'm just worried about what the Trump administration is going to do going forward. I'm worried about marginalized communities. I'm worried about the people that I care about. I'm worrying about everybody that I know who is struggling to make ends meet. And the fact that the Trump administration is not going to do shit to make that help and to help that, and they're most likely going to hurt it. You know, Trump is already walking back his promise to bring down prices. I don't know if you guys saw that on the news today. He's like, you know, it's going to be hard to bring down prices. I don't know if I can do it, you know? And it's like, it's weird because you fucking said you were gonna, you know, during the fucking election. Flonk Sauce Dragon over on YouTube, what's going on? I loved saying that you brought up yesterday, nobody lets go of anybody's hand. All of the infighting on the left is so counterproductive. Yeah, this is, I heard this on Chris Hayes' podcast. He had somebody on who was an expert in authoritarian governments. And the phrase that we need to tattoo into our noodles is nobody lets go of anybody's hands. I mean, the way that we survive this is by taking care of each other. Regardless of if your neighbor voted for Trump, if they're struggling, we got to practice radical empathy, and we got to make sure that everybody gets taken care of. All right, going back over to TikTok. Xenocat, tariffs are going to be really bad. Yeah, I completely agree with that. New kid on the talk. How can you tell when Trump is lying when he opens his mouth? Completely agree with that. I choose the other path says, do we think USA has a functional democracy? I mean, I guess it depends on what you mean by functional, you know, like there's definitely varying levels of functionality. You know, a car can be, you know, knocking like crazy and only go 10 miles per hour and be shooting fucking poisonous exhaust out like fucking crazy. But is it functioning? Yeah, I mean, it can get me to work, I guess. That's the kind of democracy that I think we have, because Republicans are straight up fucking cheating to win elections. They have a massive advantage on social media, mainstream media, right-wing media, the Electoral College, gerrymandering. The Supreme Court is fully in their pocket. The Senate map gives them a massive advantage. So yeah, it's a democracy, but it's not fully functioning. You know, I'll give it I'd say it's probably like 35% operational, you know? Natalie says, you're not biased at all. I'm not biased. I look at the data and I present that to you guys, you know? Like, those are just facts that I'm telling you. It would be biased if, like, Joe Biden was my grandfather and I was only hyping up Democrats because I like my grandpappy, you know? I believe in the Democratic Party because I've looked at the facts of where people are better served, you know, like the states where people have better life expectancies and better outcomes for education and financial and everything are the blue states and the blue cities. You know, people do better under democratic governance. The economy does better when we have a democratic president. People are more taken care. The unions are stronger under democratic presidents. The environment does better under democratic presidents. The economy does better under democratic presidents. I forget if I said that one already. So yeah, I'm not biased. I'm just presenting the fucking facts, man. You know. Let's see here. Edgewalker69. Radical empathy for leftists equals common decency for right-wingers. I'm not really sure what you mean by that, Edgewalker. Are you saying that that radical, like, leftists are really mean to right-wingers? Is that what you're talking about? Because I don't know if I fully agree with that. Let's see here. Lawrence M. Where do you get that info from people who are biased? LOL. I mean, I read multiple news sources. I read centrist news sources and progressive news sources and foreign news sources. So I think I got a pretty good idea what the facts are. Chuck Warlinski says the unions have been turning on the Dems for years. I mean, they have recently, for the first time, not done as sweeping 100% endorsements of Democratic candidates they have in the past. I think it is indicative of the information environment being pro-Republican and anti-democratic that unions did not recognize that the Democratic Party was working for them and helping them in the last 4 years, as opposed to Trump, who is up there. His campaign is like getting $250 million from Elon Musk, who said he's a proud union buster, and Donald Trump saying he doesn't pay his workers and doesn't like paying overtime and shit like that. These are fucking union busters, the Republican Party. And the union decided that, oh, only 99% of the unions are going to endorse Democrats this cycle because 1% of them decided they didn't want to declare an endorsement for a candidate because why? you know? It's fucking bananas, man. It is unfucking believable. The math ain't math and the facts don't do shit. Kyle Zrinko says unions are shit. I don't agree with that. We get a lot of good out of unions. Zach7787, why do Democrats think men need tampons? If you identify as a man but you have periods, then you need tampons, I guess you can miss me with that shit. All caps person. Let's see here. I choose the other path. We are officially ranked 36th. We are first of the category deficient democracy. Wait, so you're saying that based on some metric, we have been ranked 36th on a list of functioning democracies? That tracks for me. Edgewalker69, you said to help other people even if they disagree with you politically, i.e. voted for Trump. You called this radical empathy, the implication being that leftists are not empathetic towards their political opponents, which I think you are correct in that assessment, and pointed out that this is common decency for right-wingers. Well, Edgewalker, I would point you to the fucking bajillion examples of right-wingers calling me a cuck, calling me a soy boy, saying that, my wife is cheating on me with a real man. You can fucking miss me with that shit. Oh my God, the right is so nice to leftists. Where example is that, man? Like, where can I fucking see that happening anywhere? Fucking miss me with that nonsense, Edgewalker. Unfucking believable, man. Wow, what a concept. The right is so nice to the left. I can't fucking do your own research. Uneducated, learn the law. Fucking, oh my God, my brain is being flooded with examples of how big bullshit that is, Edgewalker. Unfucking believable, man. It's Three Stooges syndrome up here. I can't get the examples out fast enough, Mrs. Smith 3717, you are great. I love this show. Thank you, Mrs. Smith. I appreciate you. Arena 2025 says, what are your thoughts on Puerto Rico? I think if Puerto Rico wants to be a state, they should be allowed to be a state. I think that America has done a lot of disservice to Puerto Rico as a territory. We really have not been giving them a chance to be as successful as they can be as a territory. If they want to be a state, I think we should let them be a state. Zach7787, why can't Democrats define what a woman is? All right, a woman is somebody who identifies as a woman. There you go, buddy. A woman is somebody who runs when you start trying to put things in their drink. Catherine, 2024, I can't imagine PR is interested under Trump. Are you worried about what's going to happen to Puerto Rico under Trump? I am also worried about what's going to happen to Puerto Rico under Trump. Edgewalker69, you do come across as an arrogant twat, frankly. Wow. Oh my God, there's that common decency for right-wingers that you were talking about, Edgewalker, calling me an arrogant twat. Really proving my whole fucking point here, buddy. Charity Tyree Rose says, what is your take on the United Healthcare murder? It's complicated because I do not condone violence of any kind. And I worry that if we are lionizing the extrajudicial killing of somebody who may or may not have deserved it because they have done, the secondhand murder that all, healthcare CEOs who deny claims have done, then we're also opening the door for other justified extrajudicial killings, like what is stopping a right-wing person from murdering a doctor who performs abortions because they think that they deserved it, or what is stopping somebody on the right from assassinating a Democratic congressman or a reporter who writes a negative story around Trump, So that's where I come down, on the let's be cautious around how much we are lionizing this specific act of violence. But at the same time, I think that it is important that society recognize, why is everybody so hyped for Luigi Mangione? Why does everybody support what he did? Why does everybody think that he should not be, convicted? Why is everybody mad at McDonald's for snitching on him, It's because the rich have rigged the system against the rest of us. We're getting squeezed so fucking hard by these billionaires, these corporations, these fucking, healthcare CEOs are fucking us. They're all fucking us over so hard. And I put the Republican Party in that category as well. They're part of the problem. and we're fucking done, like we're gonna do whatever we can to wrestle back from you guys some semblance of a nice life where we can just go to work and have a job and have some savings and raise kids and have a house and be able to afford food and healthcare and shit like that. And again, I don't condone that. That is not something that I think is a good idea. But the American people are down with that because they're tired of getting their fucking necks stepped on by the billionaire class and by the CEO class. Now, I think personally, it's much more productive to look at the mechanisms of government as a way to fight back against corporate oligarchs and billionaire shitheads like Elon Musk. And for some reason, people don't vote against the party that enables the billionaires and enables these CEOs, There's a disconnect there in the information sphere. Like, why aren't people connecting those dots? Because the calculus is very clear to people like myself and, the 70 million people who voted for Democrats this cycle. So yeah, where's the disconnect? Where are people not getting it? And that's part of what I'm doing on here. Where I'm just like, there's no need to do an assassination, guys. If we just voted for politicians who want to tax the rich, increase the minimum wage, give us universal health care, give us universal basic income, make the tax code more fair, fund social services, safety net programs, take care of people. Take care of people. Have a free society, and we won't be fucking, outside of a, courthouse in Pennsylvania fucking flashing our tits and saying, "We love you, Luigi," All right, Zach7787, who only speaks in all caps, says, "You lost all credibility when you claimed a woman as somebody who identifies as a woman." Okay, well, you don't have to be here, Zach. Thank you for your 0 contributions, both to this live and society. All right, Fire Dragon 12334 over on Twitch. What do you think about the cat boxes in bathrooms for furries? I do not believe that exists. I believe that is a fake news story created by right-wing propagandists. Meme streamer, what kind of political affiliation do you have? I'm a lefty. You can call me a progressive if you like. I'm a registered Democrat. I believe the Democratic Party is leagues better than the Republican Party, and I'm not ashamed to say so loud and regularly and in front of lots of people. Xenocat, why do people say such dumb things? Elon Musk, Republicans, richest man in the world. Like I said, disconnect. It's the information environment. Propaganda is a strong drug, People are extremely susceptible to the information that they get online, and online is the Wild West. You have no fucking idea if the person that you're talking to is real, if they are paid by the Russian government, the way that Tim Pool was being paid by the Russian government to spread Republican propaganda. There could be leftists out there who all their videos are about how great, left-wing politics are, but for some reason they have a couple of videos where they talk shit about the Democratic Party and encourage people not to vote for the Democratic Party, and then those videos get millions of views. What's the mechanism behind that? Is it because these social media companies have a vested interest in taking down the Democratic Party because they know the Republican Party is going to be down with deregulation, and so long as that everybody gets their taste, they don't mind fucking people over and spreading their disinformation and misinformation as much as they want? You got to be extremely skeptical of the things that you see online. I'm never going to tell you guys that you shouldn't double check everything I'm saying, but y'all have the same Google that I have, so I don't understand why everybody's not just fucking on board with me, immediately. Edgewalker, how do you reconcile all these problems you see with the fact that the Democrats have been in power for 12 out of the past 16 years, only interrupted by 4 years with Trump? Edgewalker, that is another Republican propaganda item because Republicans have not been in charge for 12 of the past 16 years because we do not have a dictatorship. Yes, we had a Democratic president from 2008 to 2016, and then we had Democratic president from 2020 to 2024, but the House and the Senate and the Supreme Court and the general judiciary around the country has flipped back and forth. And I would argue that the judicial system has been skewing right for a very long time, and to the point where now the judicial system is extremely right-wing. So yeah, you can miss me with that shit, You can also miss me with how broad of a brush you are painting, like, oh my God, everything's terrible and Democrats have been in charge for 12 of the past 16 years. Like, well, let's take a look at like some of the specifics, like, why are people suffering through a cost of living crisis? Is it because of monopolization, which is caused by the Republican platform of having a hands-off attitude towards corporations incorporating and being able to monopolize? Is it because Trump fucked up the COVID response so bad that supply chains got fucked and caused prices to go up? Is it because Trump increased tariffs, which increased the cost of living and also made it so that we couldn't build as many houses because we literally didn't have enough wood to build these houses? Is because he eliminated $7 billion from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, so we weren't able to build enough houses, and now there's a building shortage? Is it because interest rates went down to zero during COVID, and so private equity was able to borrow money for free and buy up all the single-family homes they could to force everybody to be a renter, and then they could jack up rental prices using illegal price-fixing schemes that Lina Khan had uncovered during the Biden administration? Is there more turmoil in the Middle East because Trump moved the Israeli embassy to Jerusalem, which was a slap in the face to the people of Palestine, and left Palestine out of the Abraham Accords, and left the Iran nuclear deal, which means that Iran is probably, I don't know, days, months, weeks away from getting a nuclear weapon. The ethos of the Republican Party is to blame for all of these problems, even if we can't put them on a single person the way that a lot of these problems I can put on Donald Trump specifically. It is the platform of the Republican Party that is the cause. So, Barack Obama did a great job in his 8 years of president, and Biden did a great job as 4 years of president, but they were fucking swimming upstream against a fucking sea of bullshit that was caused by, dominoes that were set in motion by the Reagan administration, and Republican fucking cheating. It's all, it's myopic, it's short-sighted, it's Republican propaganda, so you can miss me with that shit. Alrighty, let's see here. Meme streamer, as a leftist, are we talking social democrat or what flavor are we talking here? I mean, I call myself a progressive. I don't really, get into the nitty gritty of if, oh, am I a leftist? I'm a liberal, shit like that. Just listen to the things I'm saying and then you tell me, what I am. Baja Boy 07, my question, why are you so angry and so one-sided? Also, are you aware of your role? Ooh, what do you think my role is, Baja Boy 07? So I'm not I am angry. I am angry because the bad guys are winning. The rich people have successfully weaponized the government, the judiciary, and the information sphere so that poor people, working class people, marginalized communities get fucked hard. And because of the way I was raised, I get real angry about injustice. And so, I do my best. I do a lot of work to try to solve the injustice and try to help. I'm not one-sided. I look at lots of different viewpoints and data. I'm not biased, and I know that people on the right like to call people on the left biased just because they accurately point out the shitty things that Republicans do. But bias means that you have your viewpoint because it's not based on data. Like if Biden was my grandfather or Harris was my aunt, that would mean that I was biased. But I am basing my thoughts and opinions on data, which means that I am not biased. So you can miss me with that shit also. And my role is in calling out the bullshit of Republican politicians and rich people. I am not on here telling you that your enemy is Republican voters. These people have been duped. They've been conned. And am I upset with them for the way they voted? Absolutely, but I believe in practicing radical empathy. So, when they come to me and they say, man, I was so wrong voting for Trump, these tariffs really fucked us over, I'm not going to be like, well, you got what you deserved, you fucking MAGA fascist, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, you can miss me with that shit also. That's the subtitle of today's stream, is you can miss me with that shit. Alrighty, let's see, what do we got here? Edgewalker says, you are hardcore biased, bro. What the hell? The level of self-awareness. All right, well, what's your evidence that I am biased? When I look at the data and I say what the data is saying, why is that biased to you? Meme streamer, it's hard to tell with you. I presume you want capitalism on some sort of lease. You aren't libertarian in that way. I presume you recognize inelastic demand as a real issue. I mean, yeah, you're really getting into the economic weeds here, meme streamer. Yeah, I just believe in taking care of people. I believe that the rich have too much, the poor have too little. And I believe in equality and freedom. You know, there's the long and short of it. I believe that we can take care of people and still live in capitalism. I don't love the world that capitalism has created, but I also think that I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater and just say that, you know, there's no way to have a productive capitalist system. You know, I think that government and private enterprise work well when they are balancing each other out, as opposed to everything just being government run or everything being privatized. Let's see here. So welfare state. Okay, I'm down with this. Well, welfare state is the right wing's version of taking care of people. But yeah, no, I don't believe in that framing, you know? Let's see here. Ho, please. Democrats worship the federal government. I mean, the federal government is what protects us from corporate oligarchs, you know? So I guess I'd rather worship the federal government, which is, you know, the federal government is whoever we vote to be in charge of us, as opposed to worshiping billionaires like Elon Musk who don't give a shit around you, would just fucking would piss on you if it would earn them a penny, you know. Pendleton girl, I'm MAGA. Why are you MAGA, Pendleton girl? Pig Gene, they're literally calling Trump daddy. Yeah, they are, you know. User, a whole bunch of numbers. Do you think Trump will last a full term? Health-wise, I have no fucking idea. But I believe that his goal is to die in office. So if he lives longer than 4 years, he is going to try to stay in office, even though he, even though he's technically not allowed to run for a third term. Baja Boy 07, dude, I like you, but be real, you got Trump elected with this hate. No. Obviously not. No. What the fuck, man? That's some fucking gaslighting bullshit. You being honest about Republicans is the reason why Trump got elected. That's some fucking gaslight bullshit. Look what you made me do, you know? That's that shit. Pendleton girl, our country was so much better off under Trump. I don't agree with that, Pendleton girl. You know, I think that he inherited a great economy from Barack Obama. And by the time the things that he did we were able to see the effect of that, it was basically like year 3 and 4 of the Trump administration. And what happened in those years? He mishandled the COVID pandemic to the point where everybody had to be locked in their homes. The economy crashed, inflation spiked, unemployment spiked, violence spiked, crime spiked. And the inflation that we felt during the Biden administration was caused by mistakes that were made and decisions that were made during the Trump administration, you know? So yeah, I understand if the world felt better, during the Trump administration. But the fact is that this is what Republicans do. They light fires during their administrations. Democrats come into office, they put out the fires, but then people aren't happy that the fires took so long to put out, and then they vote for Republicans again, who then, do more fires. All right, Pendleton girl, I was engaging with you, but then you just started writing things like, we're going to drill, baby, drill. So now I know that you're not here in good faith. Okay, let's see here. Baja Boy 07, my independent vote went right. You pushed me right. I did that? Oh no. Oh, God, I feel real bad now. First of all, Baja Boy 07, I've got no fucking idea who you are. You could be a fucking guy sitting in your apartment wearing a fucking MAGA hat and a fucking Confederate flag on one wall and a swastika on the other, and you're here in my live saying that you're an independent voter who was pushed to the right by mean liberals. Like, miss me with that fucking bullshit, my man. Unfucking believable. Yeah, look what you made me do, shit. Let's see here. Rich Kane's Ghost says, rich people work hard. Well, rich people make something like 2,000 times what their lowest paid employee makes. I do not believe that a CEO is working 2,000 times harder than the janitor at his company. Kevin over on YouTube, do some people have the right to rule other people? Where do they get that right? I believe that the right to rule is bestowed upon people by the citizens that vote for them. But I do not believe that somebody is born with a mandate to rule. You know, there's no divine right to rule like fucking, medieval England or shit like that. Alrighty. Okay, lots of great fighting happening here in the comments, everybody. All right, Chihuahua Mama, nothing wrong with pushing somebody to the right As a matter of fact, thank you. Yay. Yeah, I don't believe this. I don't believe you guys one fucking tick, you know? This is a narrative that only helps Republicans. Like, don't talk about the bad things that Republicans do, or you're gonna make us mad and you're gonna make us vote Republican more. Like, fucking miss me with that shit, you know? Mace 28, our tax system is set up to tax income, not wealth. That is accurate, Mace 28. The wealthy have managed to skirt taxes using loopholes and shit like that. So yeah, I think that we need to adjust our tax and income system to make it more equitable so that people aren't dying on the street while 1,000 Americans are out buying their fifth golden yacht. Prime, that's exactly why Trump got elected, you spoiled folks. I don't know what you mean by that, Prime. Let's see here. Sounds like you won't learn things that will actually affect you then. Sorry. Or are you talking to Edgewalker, right? You guys have your own fight over there on Twitch. You know, I'll get into some of these TikTok comments here. Let's see here. Okay. Prime says handouts and less police. That'll make it better. Are you being sarcastic, Prime? Because I actually think that that's accurate. Blues Driver 868. Whole lot of traders like Fetterman and Shapiro making comments in favor of Brian Thompson. Blues Driver. So here's what I want to say to you, Blues Driver. All right. The way that people on social media will single out Democrats for doing something that they believe is like class traitorship and ignoring all the things that Republicans do that they believe are class traitorship is part of the reason why Democrats lost this election cycle. Like, the focus should not be on Fetterman and Shapiro, who are making comments like we shouldn't be doing extrajudicial killings. The focus should be on the politicians who made it so that people like Brian Thompson could get rich, denying people's health insurance claims, causing people to go bankrupt and, you know, and die of preventable illnesses, you know? I believe in prioritizing our anger at politicians and at rich people. You know, people want to get angry at Taylor Swift for using her private jet to fly her all over the country. And I'm like, all right, cool, but Taylor Swift's not even on the top, not even close to the top of my list of shitty climate emitters that I'm pissed off at. You know, like the fucking Koch brothers have done way more damage to the environment than Taylor Swift with her fucking private jet. Also, do you want her to fly out of LaGuardia? You know, like, it would be pandemonium. There would be no way for her to travel. That, you know, nobody would be able to get out if she was there, you know? So yeah, prioritize who you're mad at, you know? And you can say to Fetterman and Shapiro, like, hey, you know, maybe you didn't phrase this as elegantly as you could have. Acknowledge people's rage at the system. But I don't think that it is wrong for a politician to point out that extrajudicial killings are not the move, you know? Because if that is the move, then what is stopping somebody on the right from murdering a doctor who does abortions, or murdering a reporter who writes a negative story around Donald Trump, under the same auspice of they had it coming, they deserved it, they got what they asked for. Shit like that. All right. Okay. Let's see here. Generic username. Thoughts on Biden pardoning Hunter? This is exactly what I was talking about with the rage prioritization, you know? Donald Trump sold pardons to people. He pardoned a guy who murdered a cop. He pardoned a guy who was killing civilians in Afghanistan, who everybody else that was in his unit was like, this guy's a fucking murderer and he should be thrown in jail. He pardoned Sheriff Joe Arpaio. You know, he pardoned Jared Kushner's daddy, you know, but we're going to get mad at Biden for pardoning Hunter. You know, like, I don't give a shit. You know, Biden played by the rules. He was an institutionalist. He tried his best. He got inflation from 9% back down to 2.4%. He rescued the stock market, which is at record highs. Unemployment was at record lows. Crimes was at record lows. Violence was at record lows. You know, he walked the union. The unions were, you know, gaining political and economic power for the first time in decades, the largest investment in green technology in our nation's history, the first black woman on the Supreme Court, a lot of incredible judicial nominations. Lena Khan at the FEC was fucking crushing it, but then he loses the election, and all he wants to do is protect his son, and people are gonna fucking yell at him for that, I say fucking let him, man. I don't think that the president should be able to pardon anybody. So you can also miss me with that bullshit about I guess the Democrats have lost all credibility on this issue. It's like, all right, well, take away the pardon power then. Nobody gets pardons then. But of course, Republicans aren't going to be down with that because they want to be able to sell their pardons the way that they did during the first Trump administration, So yeah, there we go. Dan Atwood 682. Wow, he didn't lose. You know what I mean, Dan. Democrats lost, Generic username. How much money did we send to Ukraine? I don't know how much money we sent, but a lot of what we sent was weapons that were already built and were just sort of sitting in storage. So that number is grossly inflated. If you're just talking about cash, it's a lot less than the grand total, which a lot of that was just weapons and stuff like that. And I also think that it was right to send that stuff to Ukraine because, Russia should not have invaded them. I think that was a bad thing that Russia did. 4T Kingdom says Biden is the most corrupt, paid for politician ever. That is not accurate at all. You are not here in good faith. You are out of here. Dan Atwood 682. Get your facts on check before you speak. I don't know what I said that was wrong, Dan, but, seems like you're just trying to upset me. Let's see here. Rez Q says, does anyone know if this guy is German? I am not. Chihuahua Mama, I can't wait till they can't use Trump as their beating board anymore. I don't know what you mean by that, Chihuahua Mama. Can you not wait until Trump is out of office and then we don't have Trump as a boogeyman anymore? Because if that's what you're saying, I don't agree with that at all. Fish Arlo says, be very careful how you twist your little words. Is that some sort of a threat, Fish Arlo? Let's see here. Baja Boy 07, 29% inflation. Yeah, and then now it's back down to 2.4%. Thank you, President Biden. We really appreciate your work that you did. Okay. All right. Blues Driver 868. Any Democrats siding with the Republicans on the CEO shooting are excommunicated and blacklisted. Yeah, that's that purity politics that I was talking about. Again, y'all are proving my point about the information environment being weaponized against the Democratic Party because you're refusing to focus on the actual bad guys. You've got a dude jaywalking and you've got a dude stabbing people on the sidewalk, and you're focusing on the jaywalker. You're like a convenience store clerk who is ignoring the dude who is shooting him full of bullets because there are kids reading magazines, and you're like, hey, you kids, stop reading magazines, All right, let's see here. Generic username, but Democrats do the same thing. What do you mean Democrats do the same thing? What are you talking about, generic username? Jerry Smith, no excuses, MAGA, waiting for those $1 eggs and gas. Yeah, Trump was already walking back his promise to lower prices. So, I told you guys. I told you that he's a liar. None of y'all believe me. At least I'm having some connection issues over on TikTok. Looks like my thing is frozen over on TikTok. I gotta wait for that to recover. Alrighty. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what's going on here. Are you guys still hearing me? Is my video coming through? Because it doesn't look like that's happening on my end over on TikTok. Xena, but am I moving? Am I moving around? Yeah, I'm frozen. Okay, yeah. Well, let's I honestly don't know what to do about this, y'all. I might call it soon because I don't know if just the audio is going to be worth it for people, I'll see if I can fix it, but yeah, we might have to start wrapping up. All right, I'm going to do an unplug of my camera and then I'll plug back in and we'll see if that does it. All right, let's see if we're fixing it here. All right, Is this helping at all? Are we back up? All right. Fixing. Continue yelling amongst yourselves, everybody. Let's see. Let's see if I can salvage the situation here. Yeah, the camera is... I think I hit the cord or something, and so the camera got knocked out. I could just do a quick restream live start. I mean, I'm at about an hour, so this is usually around the time that I... Actually, no, I mean, I usually like to go to 1 o'clock. You know? Yeah, on TikTok, I think I'm going to restart the live, and we'll see. So, yeah, everybody keep an eye out. I'm going to dip and then come right back over on TikTok. Everybody else, the stream is going to be maintained. So, we'll see you guys in a hot second over on TikTok. All right. Exit now. You get back. All right. Okay. Edgewalker69 over on Twitch says, your ideas have been rejected. Just because they were rejected doesn't mean that they were wrong, my man. People sometimes vote in a way that does not help them. All right. I'll see if this helps my TikTok issues. All right, but yeah, this is a fun fight that you guys have been going on and on about over there. Wait. All right, we're back, baby. We are back, and y'all can ask me anything that you like about politics, and I will answer. We are here talking about politics today, so if you got any questions about politics, let me know. We had to do a reboot because my camera got effed. But we are here. We are here. Where are all the people who are just on my live stream? Okay. I love this fight that's going on over on Twitch between Edgewalker and Meme Streamer. No. Let's see here. Say anything about slavery. I never brought it up. Yeah, ask me your questions about politics, everybody. I am available to answer your questions. There'll be no roasting. There'll be no debating. There'll be, I am just here to try to answer your questions as sincerely and honestly as I can. We were just having a hot one, and then I had to dip out because my camera got effed, and now I am back. So if you got questions, let me know. There's no such thing as a dumb question. I don't believe in making people feel stupid or dumb for not knowing things about politics, so ask away, and I will answer you as best as I can. Jared Branson, I had a question about nationalizing industries. Is it further up in the chat? Because I can look for it, if that is here. You know where there is nothing I could say, no source there satisfy you? Yeah, this great fight between you guys. Loving this. Alrighty. What are your opinions on nationalizing industries, be it trains, healthcare, etc.? I think there's definitely room for that in our economy. I think that nationalizing healthcare is probably priority number one. I think nationalizing industries where the country has an interest in having more uniform and accountability. So like the reason why we don't have high-speed rail right now is because there's like 3 companies that own the trains and they don't work together, and they're constantly fighting amongst each other and shit like that. And the economy would crash if we weren't able to ship goods via train. So yeah, fucking nationalize the train system. Healthcare doesn't work as a private industry because you can't price shop when you are shot, and you can't just keep on going to different hospitals and being like, all right, who can give me a liver for cheap, Alex says, get a better hobby. No. All right. Any other questions about politics? I am available, everybody. Ask away. I am here. Sean, can Department of Education be safe? Well, not while Republicans are in charge. That's for damn sure. Alrighty. I hope that answered your question, meme streamer. If you have more specifics, then then I am down. All right. Ask me anything, everybody. I am available for your questions about politics. And, there's no such thing as a dumb question. I will not roast you. I will not debate you. If you're here in good faith, I will only answer your question. There'll be no judgments. You don't got to worry if I'm going to think you're a squishy lib or a fascist MAGA type. You can ask me anything that you like, and I promise that I will answer you in good faith. Zachary Cornelius, why do influencers try to pit the people against each other? I think there's a profit motive in getting people to fight. When people get angry, like if you watch like Destiny debates and shit like that, like he's very popular. He makes a lot of money doing that sort of thing. But I don't do debates for exactly that reason. I believe in bringing people together and, pointing out to people who the real bad guys are, i.e. the rich and right-wing politicians. Dan Blackroyd, excellent screen name, Dan Blackroyd. What is the way forward with one faction of voters living in an alternate reality? I mean, that's the million-dollar question, man. Like, I have been talking about this ad nauseum. The information environment is heavily pro-Republican and anti-Democratic Party. I think that, I'm hoping that smarter people than me will come up with two solutions to this. But I think the answer is that every human being needs to be mobilized. Everybody needs to talk to their friends, their neighbors, and their family and make sure that they do not believe misinformation and make sure that they have their priorities straight as far as who we should be angry at, who should be voting for, and who we should be voting against, that sort of thing. All right. Michael MC Boss says that frog shirt is fire, man. Thank you. My wife got it for me. Generic username, do you not think there's bad left-wing politicians? Of course there are, but there are just way more. Here's the thing. You can judge a political party based on the politicians in that party, but you can also judge them based on their platform. The Republican Party platform is a bad platform. It is bad for people. It is bad for marginalized groups. It is bad for the economy. It is bad. Also, the politicians within the Republican Party are generally worse than the politicians in the Democratic Party. But there are bad politicians in the Democratic Party. It's just that the type of bad is worse, and there are fewer of them. David Sunderland 286 says we need ranked choice voting and more parties. I don't know if that solves the problem, David. Honestly, we had ranked choice voting for the mayoral election in New York, and we still elected Eric Adams, and he fucking sucks. And I don't know what the value of a third party would be if the information environment is just going to switch from going hard against Democrats to going hard against the Working Families Party or the Social Democrats or the Green Party or whatever, You have to look at the information that you're seeing and recognizing that it is being manufactured in order to hype up the Republican Party, because the Republican Party is going to do what the rich people want them to do, and rich people are in charge of all of the information environments, I think it is extremely suspect that we yell and scream at Democrats for doing 1% of the shitty things that Republicans do. Not even, like 0.001% of the shitty things that Republicans do, Dom, do you think we should have an age cap to run for office? I actually do, yeah. Guy, I am asking any questions. How many countries have tariffs against the United States? I'm actually not sure about that. User a whole bunch of numbers says, how do you feel about Trump's economic plan and him glorifying trickle-down economics? I think it's dumb. Trickle-down economics is obviously a failure. We have had trickle-down economics since the 80s, and it has not worked at all. The rich have never been richer. The poor have never been poorer. Income inequality is worse now than it was during the Gilded Age, which was, like, the name itself, you gotta worry, You understand that that income inequality is worse now than the age where we named the age after the unbelievable income inequality that existed. So yeah, trickle down is bullshit. And that's what I mean when I say the Republican Party their platform is bad, because their platform is still trickle down economics, even though it has been proven to not work. People are starving on the streets, and there's like 100 people who are on their 5th golden mega yacht. And that is not a sustainable business model. That is not sustainable. And, it's morally wrong also for a few people to have so much and for everybody else to be struggling to make ends meet, living on a fucking shoestring, living on scraps. Let's see here. Guy, are there rich billionaire Democrats and billionaires? There are, but there are fewer. And the billionaires on the right spend a lot of money to elect right-wing politicians. 75% of all billionaire donations went to Republican politicians this past election cycle. Let's see here. Generic username, why are Democratic states in such disarray after passing all Democratic policies? That's actually factually inaccurate. You should look up another creator named Nick Powers. He has a lot of data on, who has a better life. People that live in blue cities and blue states or people that live in red cities and red states. And the data is unequivocal that your life is better if you live in a blue state. Your education is better, your financial situation is better, your health is better, your life expectancy is better, there's less crime. It is unequivocal. There's no two bones about it. Let's see here. Guy, did Democrats spend more on Harris? I don't know what you mean by that. Like, did individual Democrats, like small donor donations or something like that? Let's see here. Okay. So I am really enjoying this fight that you guys are having over on Twitch, but I just want you both to recognize that you are human beings on the internet. So you have no idea who the other person is. Edgewalker could be a fucking Russian bot. We have no fucking idea. Meme streamer could be, fucking, twitching from Sudan for all we fucking know. So don't let this argument that you guys are having color your opinion of actual real liberals and Republicans, Democrats and Republicans. Carmine bot fight. Let's see here. Hiccups calls mom, doesn't answer. What the fuck does that mean? Generic username. So I've lived in blue states and in red states. My money went further and what life was better in red states. Well, that's what we call anecdotal evidence, generic username, because number one, we don't know who the fuck you are. You could literally be a Russian bot making shit up. Number two, just because that was your experience does not mean that that is the general experience as well. So, I don't know if you're doing this on purpose or if you are making honest mistakes. But if you keep on saying shit like that, I'm going to get rid of you, because the more that you do shit like this, the more I'm like, well, this is not a person who's operating in good faith. Ellipses says, what do you think about the billions of money going to Ukraine instead of helping homeless and vets? So I have a couple of thoughts about that. Number one, most of the quote-unquote money that we're sending to Ukraine is weapons that have already been made. So it's not like we're spending extra money. We are sending them munitions and tanks that have just been laying around in storage facilities for decades. That's number one. Number two is, I think it is correct that we are sending money to the Ukraine because they are being unlawfully invaded by an adversarial nation. And it's paying dividends because we've decimated the Russian military, and we have made it so that Russia is less able to invade other countries like NATO partners that we would be contractually obligated to support if they got into a larger war with Russia. And then we would be two nuclear powers going at each other, and that's not a good thing for anybody. And number three is, the only party that is serious about helping the homeless and vets is the Democratic Party. It is the same party that is more on board with funding the Ukrainian military. So voting for the Republican Party because you don't want us to send any more money to Ukraine, that money is not going to go to the homeless and vets because the Republicans are in charge. It's going to go to rich people and Republican politicians. Like, that's just the way that goes. And then Ukraine is not going to be able to have autonomy. They're not going to be able to exist anymore as a country. Russia's going to take them over. So then we got nothing. Homeless people didn't get any services. The vets didn't get any services. Homeless people didn't get any services. And the Ukraine doesn't exist. So it's the worst of both worlds that way. Let's see here. Carmine, picture the immigration crisis, but the immigrants Russia have guns. Excellent. Excellent analogy, Carmine. Ellipses says, money is money. What about the victims of Hurricane Helene and Maui fire getting $750? That is propaganda that has been debunked. The people who were affected by both of those tragedies were well compensated and taken care of by FEMA. A lot of the news reports that came out about them not getting enough ended up being Republican propaganda. So I would encourage you not to spread Republican propaganda, Ellipses. Donna, I think it's more military equipment being sent to Ukraine than money. That is accurate. JF says, can you speak to the Trump nominations and the potential of using recess appointments? So obviously the nominations have all been fucking nightmares. It's just been various levels of how bad they are. You know, like normally I would be upset about somebody like Marco Rubio, but the fact is he's like the most sane and centrist person that he could have nominated for. I think Secretary of State is what he's nominated for. But Matt Gaetz, fucking Pete Hedgecliffe or whatever the fuck the dude's name is, who his mom wrote him a letter about what a shitty person he is. You know, Kash Patel, fucking Tulsi Gabbard, like these people would all be a fucking nightmare. And the fact that Trump is having loyalty pledges for people that he's trying to hire for the government should terrify everybody. Like the point of getting hired to run an agency like the EPA or the FDA or the FEC or something is to take care of the American people, not do what Trump wants you to do. It should terrify you, you know, that the people that are going to be in charge of the military, their priority is not going to be to the Constitution of the American people, but to Donald Trump himself. So Donald Trump says to, you know, some military general that signed a loyalty pledge, like go shoot a bunch of protesters in New York City. They're not going to say that's an illegal order and I can't follow that. They're going to say, okay, Daddy, how many bullets would you like me to put in them? Yeah. And as far as Reese's appointment goes, that's a very precarious situation. We're going to have to count on, and again, you know, this is the odds are not great for this happening. We're going to have to count on the centrist Republicans in the House to keep that from happening. And that is, again, not a great scenario. You know, in order for him to get recess appointments, he only needs to have one branch of Congress recess. Because if the Senate decides, because the Senate is much more centrist than the House is where all the cuckoo bananas Republicans are. If the Senate decides we're not going to let Trump do any recess appointments, we're going to stay in session. But the House votes to go into recess so that Trump can have his recess appointments. Then, according to the Constitution, the president then gets to decide whether or not both houses go into recess. And so, you know, Mike Johnson is a MAGA extreme psychopath. So it is in his interest to do what Donald Trump wants him to do. So I would be, you know, I think the chances of recess appointments happening is probably like 60%, something like that. Because again, you are never going to get money betting on the good faith behavior of Republican politicians, especially in the House. So yeah, it's terrifying if you are, you know, if you live in a place where they voted for a Republican House member or Republican senator, then I would be on the phone with that person's office like every fucking day, 5 times a day, go to their office, harass them, remind them that they work for you, you know, because it's only political pressure that can save us from these fucking psychopaths, you know? Alrighty, let's see here. Meme Streamer says, why does your flag only have 48 stars? I did not know that my flag only had 48 stars. I got it off of the internet. So, you know, it reminds me of that Simpsons bit. It'll be a cold day in hell before I recognize Missouri. You know? So yeah, my flag only has 48 stars, so I don't recognize Kentucky and Mississippi. Florida and Texas, sorry. You guys don't get to be on my flag here. Alrighty, let's see here. Bina with the Nina. So if you claim Russia is wrongfully invading Ukraine, do you support Israel's genocide on Gaza? No, I do not. And I think it's worth mentioning that the International Criminal Court has not found that Israel is doing a genocide, but they have found that Netanyahu is guilty of war crimes. And I think that's enough. You know, like I don't know if we do ourselves any favors by insisting that it's a genocide when independent bodies like the ICC have not agreed that it is a genocide. You know, it makes you seem like a reactionary left-wing extremist when you are insisting that it is. Now, I might agree with you that it is a genocide based on the things that Netanyahu is doing, but why can't we just live with the generally accepted definition of war crimes? Because war crimes is enough. Like, war crimes is enough for us to stop sending weapons to Israel, you know, which again is, your original question was, do I agree that we should be sending money and weapons to Israel? And the answer is I don't. I don't think that we should be sending money and weapons to Israel or Hamas because they were both doing war crimes. But at the moment we're only sending it to Israel, and I don't think we should be doing that. KFYO, why do you think it's not well known that Trump hosted a gay wedding on 2/23/24 at Mar-a-Lago? I mean, that doesn't seem like a big news story to me. I don't care if there was a gay wedding at Mar-a-Lago. I don't think his followers care that there was a gay wedding at Mar-a-Lago, you know. There you go. Bina with the Nina, thank you for your response. I do appreciate that. You're welcome, Bina the Nina. Let's see here. All right, anything on the other channels? Nope. All right, we're back on TikTok. Carmine, congrats on the wedding. Yes, congratulations to the gay people who got married at Mar-a-Lago. Nicholas Hunt, can you please explain tariffs? Absolutely. Tariffs are a tax that companies need to pay to bring foreign goods and, minerals and wood and elements and all that sort of shit into this country. So if Best Buy wants to buy a computer from China or even like a component of a computer from another country, they're going to have to pay extra to bring the computer in, and then they push those extra costs onto the consumer. It's basically just like an increased sales tax on everybody. Carl Brutanadilewski says he didn't host, they paid to use his venue. I mean, if I was a gay person, I would not pay to have my wedding at Mar-a-Lago. Use a whole bunch of numbers. Navigate to Google and search what U.S. aid was used for in Ukraine. Oh boy, I can't wait to find out what you think the aid was used for in Ukraine, my man. Let's see here. Kelly, very much need to match the tariff they put on us. Yeah, other countries are then going to tariff us, and then that's going to increase. It's going to lower GDP. Companies are going to make less money. It's going to hurt small businesses. It's going to hurt the consumer. It's going to hurt everybody. Wait. User a whole bunch of numbers. It was not just old missiles. He's not going to Google it. User a whole bunch of numbers. Just tell us what you think it was used for, my man. Why you got to tease me? Let's see here. 344 million reached 375,000 households, and that's $917 per family for the Helene victims. I don't know what you're proving here, Ellipses, but the fact is there were propaganda, false stories about the people who were affected by the hurricane and the fires in Puerto Rico not getting enough money when they were getting enough money. So I don't know what you want me to tell you, man. Let's see here. And if that really bothers you, like people not getting enough money and support for, natural disasters, then you should be really fucking pissed about Trump. Because he fucked over Puerto Rico, he fucked over blue states during COVID, he fucked over North Carolina during a hurricane because he didn't like that they had a Democratic governor. And he was like, well, I guess you guys shouldn't have voted for a Democratic governor then, He told the states to fucking fend for yourselves, every state for themselves during COVID, So yeah, if not taking care of people during natural disasters and fucking national emergencies is an issue for you, then, I think you should fucking hold on to your seat for fucking all the shit that Trump did when he was in office. Veronica Duncan, stop demonizing Trump. I'm not demonizing, I'm just telling you the things that he did. Does that make him seem like a demon? Then maybe you should think that maybe he should not act like that way, Let's see here. Cornflake Kid, he never said that. Yeah, he did. No, you're being biased, says Veronica Duncan. No, I'm not. Pretty sure that you are blocked. Okay. Too sassy for you. Piece by piece, you need to educate yourself. Whoa, what was it that Piece by Piece said? Yeah. Too sassy. Ukraine is one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Yeah, that is not accurate, sassy. Sorry, I do not allow people to spread Republican propaganda on my channels. If you want to ask a question, I'll engage with you. But if you're just here to, spread right-wing talking points, Kelly, this guy very much needs to educate himself. Are you talking about me? What did I get wrong, Kelly? Tell me, Flunk Sauce, are you going to stream from the beach when you were on tour in Hawaii? Probably not. I'm actually really worried about how I'm going to maintain my streaming schedule when I'm on the road. Alrighty. Flunk Sauce Dragon over on YouTube says, no system is perfect, but I lean towards a parliamentary system. You? I don't know enough about how a parliamentary system works. I can't speak to that. You accused me of spreading propaganda. That's why I did my research and just wanted to prove that I wasn't. But I have no idea what you're fucking talking about, man. I don't know where you got your information from. I don't know if any of those numbers that you said are accurate. What I know to be a fact is that Republicans were lying. They were lying about the aid to Helene. They were lying about fucking migrants eating dogs and cats in Springfield. They were lying about the election being rigged. They were lying about false votes coming in from immigrants. They lie a fucking shit ton. So, oh, me? Yes, me. Oh, Kelly says I'm spewing lies. Oh, well, I got some really good news for you, Kelly. You're blocked. Woohoo! Okay. Tim Meisner, Destiny is the debate lord. Well, I'd rather not be the debate lord. I don't really care about debating people. Let's see here. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Jam Masters. How did Orange Little Hands get a third term? He didn't get a third term. He got a second term, and he got it because billionaires helped him. The information environment is weaponized against Democrats and helps Republicans, and there's an incumbency bias because everybody was upset about the inflation that was caused by Trump mishandling COVID. Blocks people for telling the truth, LMFAO. No, I'm just blocking people that annoy me. All right, we are at an hour and a half. I gotta get out of here. All right, I'm gonna do my outro and then I'm gonna do a couple final questions. But I want to thank everybody for being here, for contributing with your comments, with your gifts. I appreciate anything that you guys can do to help support me and my channel. That includes the free stuff like likes and shares and going to my website, not going to my website, going to my TikTok page and sharing my videos, and liking my videos and leaving comments and stuff like that. But also, like, if you go to my website, you can join my Patreon, you can send gifts, you can go to my spring store, which I got a couple items on there that are bangers. JaredBerenstein.com is a website. You can find my tour dates on there. My streaming schedule is normally Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I usually start early because I really like doing these, and sometimes I will augment my streaming schedule with a Friday because, again, I really like doing these things. Today was a little bit more argumentative and debatey than I usually like, but, that's totally fine. You got questions, I got answers. That's what we're doing here, everybody. Let's see here. And yeah, just my sincere plea to everybody watching this to not be despondent, to continue to engage with the political process, to continue to vote, support great organizations that are going to help people during these trying 4 years, run for something, vote Save America, Indivisible. AOC seems like she's got a good handle on things, so I would give her a follow as well. Nobody lets go of anybody's hand. If everybody does a little bit of work, then nobody has to do a lot of work. So, let's get these voter participation numbers up and hope that we can put enough political pressure on these ding-dongs in the government that we can stop the bleeding and we can mitigate the damage. All right, let's see if we've got any final questions here. Brian, Trump already saying he can't do shit to lower grocery prices. Yeah, he was lying. I don't know why nobody believed that he was lying about that. Republicans can't celebrate Luigi after voting Trump. Ain't no way. I mean, they do. They just haven't connected the dots that the reason why they're angry at that CEO is facilitated by Republican politicians. So, what are you going to do? The Void, yes, over on TikTok. The true leftist knows the choke the Capitol holds on the system. Capital does have a lot of influence over our government, and the Republican politicians have made that a lot easier with all of the court cases that they have facilitated and, all of the bills that they have passed. So yeah, if money in government is something that you don't care, if something that you care about and you want to get rid of it, then you should vote for politicians like Democrats who have made it a point to call out the problem of money in politics and have tried to do something fucking about it. Jam Masters, what do you know about Carolina's state government law suppressing elected officials? It's just more Republicans cheating. They are upset that a Democrat won the governorship and they had control of the state House and the Senate, so they were passing laws to take away power from the governor, and they were trying to invalidate 60,000 Democratic votes because they wanted to reverse a Supreme Court seat that was won by a Democrat in that race. Republicans cheat. That's what they do. It's par for the course. Edgewalker, the liberals and the leftists in the Democratic Party is having a civil war right now. Either they can double down on the woke or come towards the center and stop the authoritarian and ban and block all they disagree with. They need each other, and none of them will have any influence because their ideas... All right. Edgewalker, you were originally engaging in good faith, and then you just started saying bullshit. So I'm sorry, my man, but you are out of here. Heavy Hauler 69, do you think California magazine band will get turned over in Banta? Is that like a gun thing? Are you saying like magazine bans for guns? Magazine ban. Yeah, I'm not really sure what you're referring to there, Heavy Hauler. Rhino Chompers, we will not comply in advance. Yes, do not comply in advance with authoritarian governments. Tattoo that onto your brains, everybody. Do not comply in advance with authoritarian governments. Heavy Holler, yes, I'm not 100% sure about that issue, so I can't speak on it. But the Supreme Court is extremely right wing, and so if they can undo some gun safety legislation, they will. Mia in Las Vegas, I'm scared. I am scared too. But it's okay to be scared. It's not okay to do nothing. Let's see here. Vio Rose, no hate, but illegals cannot integrate into society. They need to be fed and cared for like babies. That is a shitty racist thing to say, Vio Rose. I like that you said no hate at the very beginning, but that is a fucked up thing that you just said. All right, you're out of here. And so am I, because I am tired. Thank you again, everybody. I might be back tomorrow if I feel like it. I probably will, because I like doing these, but my wife might tell me I can't. All right, I'll see you guys later. If I don't see you tomorrow, have an excellent weekend, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye, 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 bye-bye. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. All right, everybody over on Twitch and TikTok, on Facebook, thank you as well for watching. And I